Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode where we ask what if, to picture a world we can help create together. Thanks once again for tuning in if you are one of our regular listeners. And if you're new here, I'm sure you'll find reasons to stay. So let's dive right in. I consider myself fortunate to be alive at a time where I have worked with some truly inspiring women. So I'm continuously learning from them, or I'm hearing of them shining in their journeys. So it is great to see women entering the workforce across the different sectors. However, a homemaking woman's time, effort, and energy is still largely unrecognized across the board. Sometimes it is even taken for granted as they conform to societal expectations. But this can change. To understand this better, we get candid with Jitesh Agarwal, who tells us more about his love for food, interesting on-field experiences, and how his team at Sewan Foods is empowering women to enter the workforce.
What happened was that I was after my Young India Fellowship, which got completed in 2019. I was working as a management consultant with a leading impact consulting firm. The firm is based out of Bangalore and it has offices across India in Gurgaon and Bombay. So I was based out of the Gurgaon office, and it was almost around 7 to 8 months when I was deep into the social impact space, giving consulting advice to the top NGOs, top foundations across India. And that was when the COVID thing happened. So we got stuck to our homes, and there was no way we could go outside. And that was a time, basically, I got a lot of time to think. Consulting is one way to actually contribute to the social impact space through impact consulting. But I always felt that there should be another way, or I really want to focus on another way which would enable me to impact the lives of the community in a direct manner, not an indirect manner, which consulting basically does. I didn't want to become an enabler, but I wanted to impact them directly. So I got a lot of time to actually think about it as to like how should I do it, and like what are my passion areas. I didn't know anything about that. Even after doing my fellowship, I was quite there was no structure into my thoughts as to like where do I want to pin my attention towards. COVID actually helped me resolve that problem. And what happened was that just before the COVID thing happened, my consulting firm actually told me to go on a client visit to Chennai for one of our
Okay.
work trips. So what happened was that after probably just finishing up my work and like planning to roam around the city, I just went outside and tried finding some good food spots. But I couldn't find any. Probably being a North Indian, dosa or idli was the closest thing I could relate to, but I didn't want to try that. That day, I felt like having a good North Indian at affordable prices, but I couldn't do that. So what happened was that I just asked my driver to probably take me to some good place where I could have an affordable meal, because I always felt that if you want to explore a city, you should actually try their local foods, like probably even the street food if you can. I just asked my driver, and he actually took me to one of these Amma canteens. I didn't know anything about them. I knew about the concept, but I didn't see them with my eyes before. So I visited the Amma canteens, and I was blown away by their concept. Truly, I was
Yeah.
fascinated by how the set of 20 odd women were operating such a large facility, serving around 4 to 5,000 people a day, cooking almost meals for over 5,000 people a day, and then keeping the prices so low, although that was mandated by the government, but still managing the facility in such a hygienic manner. And then the people were so happy. A family just standing in front of me in a line to grab a coupon at Amma canteens. They told me that they don't even cook food at their home nowadays, especially the breakfast, because when food is available at such low prices,
Right.
and food has become so available, accessible, and affordable, then why do you even need a kitchen at your home? So that was probably when this concept of building a chain of canteens across India, which could probably cater to the masses, was actually born. So that thought just hit me that at that moment. And uh, and I thought that, okay, so this is just a thought maybe, and let it be, let it remain in my brain. If it is powerful enough, it would actually come back. But if it is, the thought is not powerful, and it doesn't have that strength, so it will probably wander off, or it will dissolve. So but that remained. So after I came back, like the COVID thing then struck Delhi very badly. We all got confined to our homes, and but the thought remained. And I started slowly by slowly. What happened was that in consulting, in a consulting environment, you actually work on decks a lot. So PPTs, building frameworks and all. And in
Mm.
my part time, especially after my job, what I used to do was that idea was still there in my brain of building the largest chain of canteens in India, but that was
Mm-hmm.
just an idea. So what I did was that I started giving it a shape through probably creating a matrix one day, a framework on another day, or probably building a deck slide by slide, just very very random thoughts, and just penning it down on my laptop. But that slow progress actually helped me a lot, because probably in a month or so after I came back, I
Mm-hmm.
was able to get a clear picture of what I wanted to do with my life from that point.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, and I kind of arrived at this idea that now I want to take this up seriously, and I really want to invest my time in building this idea, which I've been working on for the past 1 month, and which has been irritating me a lot, because I was
Mm.
not even able to sleep at nights. All I was thinking was that how can I build this chain, and how can I build it at the lowest price possible, make it accessible to the public, and even the food should be available at maybe at the street food prices. But how should I do it? So what happened was that basically, once I had a decent plan in mind, and that too on a deck, I
Mm.
thought that now I have a decent clarity that okay, I want to build the largest chain of canteens in India, but not just the canteens, but probably women run canteens, because that is where probably I can add value to the community, to the society.
Right.
So that is how probably Seven Foods was born. So it was probably born with just a big problem which I faced personally while migrating to a different city for maybe my work problem, and then through that an idea was born, and that actually took shape into this thing which you guys probably see on LinkedIn, or probably on the website of Seven Foods. Yeah.
Great. I relate to so many things that you've said through sharing your personal journey. Number one, COVID gave you so much time to think and gave you that, space to actually work on your idea, which is something that even I personally experienced. And also the fact that the idea was irritating you. You are not able to sleep because you want to see it materialize, or you constantly are thinking about how to make this happen. So that's something that I relate to very much. And thanks for sharing that. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next question, which is, tell us more about Save and Canteen. So you've told us how the idea was born and how you've come to this point. So tell us more about the canteens, and how do you see the canteens making meals affordable, and that too in a way that is combating food insecurity in many of the urban settings. Like you said, in rural settings, may though we know food insecurity is a big problem, but there is also the gap also exists in the urban setting. So how will the canteens make sure that the meals are affordable?
How basically the canteens will operate was probably one of the biggest problems I actually faced mentally, that
Mm-hmm.
how, because there already exists such a large space in the Indian food market. You probably go outside to your market, you will find plethora of shops, tens of hundreds of food outlets probably selling n number of food items. So it is not
Mm-hmm.
that the food is not available, it is available. But the problem comes when you actually focus on the three core aspects and tie them together, which is, for like especially for an Indian audience, you see, an Indian middle class person can't really afford to order online daily, because if
Correct.
you order food online daily, that means you will probably be spending around 3 to 4 thousand rupees per month. That is
Yeah.
still on a lower note, but yeah, 3 to 4 thousand rupees you'll have to spend on a monthly basis, and so that is not sustainable.
Hmm.
And even if you probably like keep a maid at your home,
Hmm.
still you'll have to pay them an equivalent amount, and then you buy the raw materials, and still that is when you probably keep a maid at your home, then the problem of accessibility of food comes in, wherein the
Yeah.
maid can't travel with you everywhere, right? And then affordability is the other big issue, which is the food, like, so then availability. So
Hmm.
availability of food is like, Probably if you are working in Gurgaon and you want to probably try a Gujarati thali, right?
Yes.
That you can probably find maybe in a Bikaner wala or some other outlet, but so the availability is still limited, right?
Hmm.
So you can't find it. Probably you can order it on some online platform also, but then also you'll get that after 40 to 50 minutes, and the food won't remain that like tasty or whatever.
Hmm.
So, tying these three problems, which was availability, affordability, and accessibility, I thought that there definitely exists a gap in the market, and I can leverage that gap by going actually physical. So the entire world probably in the food tech space is going online or digital, but
Yeah.
I want to probably go physical also and ensure some component of giving a digital access also. So that is how the concept of Seven Canteens was born. So
Hmm.
Seven Canteens is one of the products of Seven Foods, and probably we might diversify our portfolio later. But for now, let me tell you how Seven Canteens work. So in Seven Canteens, what we do is that we first of all, the idea behind Seven Canteens is to establish a national canteen system in India, wherein any person should be able to locate or find a Seven Canteen, probably in a radius of 1 kilometer,
Okay.
where they are probably residing or standing or whatever. They should be able to locate a Seven Canteen. And how we establish these canteens is basically that we partner like with women workers, with SHG groups, or with aspiring women foodpreneurs, whoever, probably a woman who wants to take up a food related job or is passionate about serving food to the community or running a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant. So we partner with such women. What we do is that first of all, when you onboard a woman, for the onboarding part, first of all you give them a kit. And this kit basically, which is the Seven kit, in that kit we basically offer 2 to 3 things. One
Hmm.
is like a huge steel kiosk. Okay, so it's a very large kiosk of probably, I can tell you the dimensions are approximately 7 to 8 feet in length and approximately 6 feet in height and 3 to 4 feet in width. Okay, so it's like a
Okay.
large kiosk. These kiosks are basically what we call Seven Canteens, and these canteen kiosks will be placed very strategically in places like bus stops, railway stations, near metro stations,
Okay.
or crowded markets where you will always get a feeder crowd. Okay, probably like MNCs where probably people work 24 hours a day, right? We will place these kiosks very strategically, and on the demand side, we will partner with aspiring women who are probably wanting to take up this job of serving food, and then training these women through our proper onboarding program, or a program wherein these women will be taught on how to serve food to the people, how to
Hmm.
like teaching them the mannerisms, teaching them how to clean the kiosk, especially after COVID and following WHO protocols, and then how to use the Seven app to order the food, the raw material and food for the kiosk. So that is the digital part over here, especially for the women. The third component is connecting this woman run kiosk, a local cloud kitchen or a central kitchen or a base kitchen, or a person who is probably working as a food distributor, as a cooked food distributor. That is the third component. Once we tie all these three things, you actually get what we essentially called a canteen system. So basically, what will happen is that, in a nutshell, a woman would arrive at her shop probably 6 a.m. in the morning. She will
Mm-hmm.
first clean the kiosk, and then she will place the order, or she can even place the order for the food on the previous night, based upon her expected number of people who will actually visit the canteen to eat the food.
Mm-hmm.
Place the order. Okay, probably today I want 100 plate of idlis, 200 plate of parathas, and probably 300 plate of chola bhaturas. Example there. She will place this order with us. We will transfer this order to a nearby food distributor, or a cloud kitchen, who will cook these meals, transport it to the canteen on the next morning at the designated time slot. This food will essentially arrive in a semi cooked form. Okay, so the food will not arrive in a fully cooked form. So you can't really serve cold parathas or cold chola bhaturas, right? You will
Mm-hmm.
need send it as a raw material, but still in a semi-processed form to the canteen. The canteen operator lady will then process it fully, maybe frying it, or heating the parathas, or maybe mixing various ingredients of the poha and then serving it to the person. So if you now imagine, our USP would probably lie in going hyper local with our canteen system, because we are not establishing shops over here or maybe opening a full-fledged restaurant, but still we are able to we are still able to give you that same quality food, because all the back end processes for a canteen would be managed by a cloud kitchen, right?
Right.
We really want the woman to come at the forefront, right? Yeah. So
Makes
we have
sense.
all seen that like women in our own houses, they cook food and they
Mm.
manage the houses, but that is still a back end job, right? And they don't
Mm-hmm.
get credit for that. The society can't change until and unless the women come at the forefront and actually do the jobs which the male are doing, or the men are doing, right? So the role will reverse 360 degrees. At our
Yeah.
homes, probably the women cook, and then the male person probably eats that. Here,
Yeah.
what is happening is that the males are cooking the food, or probably a mixed batch of male and female are cooking the food at the back end, and in the front end the women are actually serving that food. So that
Right.
role reversal happens, and probably that is where we see a lot of value can be added to the society, or probably it can definitely benefit the society in the longer run, in maintaining that equilibrium. The
Yeah.
equilibrium is not there currently.
And I also like the fact that, you are not completely focusing on digitizing the canteen system, because in my opinion, the experience itself is so valuable. The experience of going to the canteen, seeing women leading and managing the entire processes, and, distributing and just taking ownership of that. So I think in that also, just having a physical space for people to be able to see that change, or that slow progress for women who are not able to otherwise come to the forefront. So I think that's a brilliant idea. So I'm glad that you're not completely digitizing, and just like how we have food tech giants coming up every other year, this
Yeah.
itself is focusing on the experience of going there and seeing how it's being done. So
I can add one or two more points, which is basically that, see, like why we actually took up a concept of canteens only, and not
mm,
probably why just not open a food cart or maybe a food stall, right?
yeah.
We already have so many food carts in Delhi. Like Delhi is like the national capital of India just for the street food, I guess. Uh,
Hmm.
so why food canteens? Basically, because canteens, if you see, canteen is one of those like institutions probably, which probably an Indian can relate to with the most, because uh, we all went to schools, and in our schools there was definitely a canteen, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Then we went to probably, yeah, then we went to colleges, and then we also witnessed a canteen, right?
Hmm.
In our offices probably we had messes or like fancier version of canteens, right?
Hmm. Correct.
But now if you see, due to the COVID thing, right, and maybe not even the COVID thing, or probably because of digitization of the food tech space, people are slowly getting confined to their homes. That essence of eating the food, enjoying the food is slowly
Hmm.
disappearing, because now what is happening is that food has become just another commodity. Like there is no effort in probably
Yeah.
cooking your, or maybe like eating that meal or getting access to that meal. So people have probably started taking food for granted, I believe, because so that experience of enjoying your food probably with your friend, or probably with your batchmate or your office mate, it has disappeared somehow. I don't know
Hmm.
why. Maybe because of globalization, or people getting busier and busier nowadays. But that shouldn't happen, right? Because
Hmm.
like basically I believe that humanity should not confine itself to their rooms, or probably to four walls, right?
Yeah.
We need to venture outside, and definitely we have to, if we want to change the world. That can't really happen by us sitting at their homes and in front of our laptops, and just probably ordering food from an online delivery platform, and just spending our entire day in our homes. If you'll have to go outside, and when you go outside, you should have a food system which basically should cater to your needs, and which should be affordable also. So that is where I guess that we can add a lot of value, because
Hmm.
our model definitely relies on establishing canteens in a very cost effective manner. And I can probably give you a very good example of it also. So
Mm-hmm.
last week we actually went to Bihar to actually give a presentation to the Bihar Rural Livelihoods Mission.
Mm-hmm.
So they have also opened a chain of canteens, which is called Didi Ki Rasoi.
Okay.
Essentially, what they do is that they set up these canteens, Didi Ki Rasoi canteens, in government hospitals across Bihar. So they have started the pilot with I think that they've started the pilot with Patna, and then they are now rapidly expanding it to other parts of Bihar. The problem with this model, which I think is that each canteen requires at least 15 lakh rupees to just set up, right?
Oh, okay. That's a lot, yeah.
Now, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And then the government also needs to manage the salaries of the workers, or of the women workers who are working at the canteen. And then apart from that, even probably assist them in sourcing the raw material. So the government is already burdened with so many things, and we don't really want to burden them with probably our food related needs also, right? That is
Right.
the last thing I want to burden the government with, that you probably arrange a meal for me now. So that is where I think that we can add a lot of value by probably relieving that stress from the minds of the government, that you probably partner with us. We will take care of all your food needs. We will establish 7 canteens under 1 lakh rupees across all your hospitals, all your government institutions, private institutions, transportation hubs. You just name it. You just probably give us the permit, or maybe partner with us in this journey. And
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously we will probably create such a robust food platform which would cater to the masses, and the people won't even feel the burden on their pocket.
We heard from Jitesh on how Savian canteens have the immense potential to boost women employment. Delve a little deeper, and we find that the localized food system not only reintroduces the heritage of Indian food, it is also the key in feeding billions of humans sustainably. Sure, globalization has opened the doors of many fast food giants in our local communities, but it has taken away the demand for local produce, further adding to the carbon burden our planet is already facing. So now, so I just, I'm very curious about how the local food systems work, and because you have been on multiple Jagriti Yatras, and you've been on the ground, you've actually seen how it works in different localities and in different cities. So, in your journey, what have you learned about, or what can you share with us about the importance of eating and growing local? And the reason I believe this question is, or this discussion is important, is because we have a climate crisis in front of us. We are all facing it, or we'll all be facing it in the years to come. And somehow, because of globalization and the need to consume things that are not grown locally, a lot of carbon gets emitted in the transportation and the distribution. So eating local and growing local becomes very important, not only to combat the climate problem, but also to help our farmers and help our local producers. So what do you think, like, and according to you, why is it important for us to be eating and growing local?
I believe that I think that promoting sustainable local food systems
Hmm.
is, it can probably do wonders when it comes to probably connecting the rural and urban India, right?
Correct.
Uh, I believe that there resides two Indias in India currently. There
Hmm.
is like an urban India which is growing very rapidly and completely digitizing itself. People are ordering food from Swiggy, Zomato, or any other platform, which is very good. But on the other hand, which is very good, but at the same time, it is very dangerous also, because the amount of pollution you see food platforms are creating by actually generating so much of that plastic waste which comes with your food packaging. So
Exactly.
it is actually disastrous.
Hmm.
And and we I don't know, I certainly realize it, but I don't know if everyone is probably focusing on this picture or not, that what will we do with so much of plastic which is generated. Means I don't exactly know about the exact statistic.
Hmm.
Probably more than I think 1000 metric tons of just plastic waste gets generated, probably in Delhi only, or maybe across India. Not really sure,
Hmm.
but that is a very huge number. And this plastic doesn't get dissolved or maybe degraded easily. Means I am really probably stressed out due to this figure, that what will we do with this much amount of plastic, and we are actually not doing anything about it. We commit to UN goals, and we commit to various things. We make New Year resolutions that as a country we will become carbon neutral, we won't pollute. But
Hmm.
that doesn't happen, right? The problem is actually aggravating. It is becoming more and more problematic.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is probably with the urban India, wherein things, or especially food, is becoming more and more convenient to be accessed. But when it comes to rural India, therein probably the food might not be that accessible. Therein you have to grow your own food, you have to cook it, and you have to serve it to probably your family also.
Hmm.
So there maybe your online food platforms might have penetrated the rural India also, but I still believe that even now survives by cooking their own food and like promoting their own regional foods, and probably living a very sustainable way. So I think that is probably a way we should actually go about in the longer run, that you have to make your food chain sustainable in a manner wherein your food chain should probably be carbon neutral or should not cause any harm to the planet. There should like total elimination or at least minimum use of plastic in your food chain. I think promotion of regional food items needs to be given a top priority, because if we don't really put focus on these regional food items, probably in a matter of 20 to 30 years from now, these will disappear, or your Indian recipes would become extinct. I
Yeah.
believe your rural population is slowly migrating to urban centers, and when they migrate to urban centers, they rely on the convenience of these online stores or online
Correct.
platforms, and they suddenly start disconnecting from their rural roots or rural background. Once that happens, and also the older generation which is residing in the rural areas, they also start probably dying for various reasons, because of old age. Then what will happen to your local food systems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you don't really have a need for that, you don't really have a need for cooking or probably eating outside, why will you even focus on those recipes? Those would probably get you would only be able to find them probably on internet probably after 20 or 30 years, and nobody would
Yeah.
be, because nobody would have even probably an hour to actually focus on cooking those recipes or trying those recipes. They would probably order it from Swiggy. Some person would be cooking it in their restaurant and they would deliver it. But that essence of eating the food probably with the community and cooking for your community, that is probably, I think, is dying now. So I think that we really need a modular approach over here, or maybe some kind of a bridge which could connect, I think, the rural India with the urban India, and still remain carbon neutral and still positively impact the environment. So I am not saying that the food systems in rural India are the best or maybe the most sustainable, and
Hmm.
or that the urban India food system is the worst. But I think that we need to find a synergy between the two, so basically to arrive at an equilibrium, right? You can't really, because there are pros and cons to both these food systems. So we need some kind of a mechanism through which there is a manner in which the food or maybe the food systems from the rural India could get connected with this urban population. And I think that the urban population or the urban India should be able to enjoy the benefits of the local food systems from our states, from our towns or villages. And I think that is where I really find the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. I could really relate to his philosophy a lot. I remember I read this part in my school, or this line in my school, that Mahatma Gandhi emphasized a lot on building India through villages. Until unless you can make your villages sustainable, or you can go mainstream with your villages and project them at the forefront,
Hmm.
your urban population would definitely feel a huge divide with your rural population or the rural India.
Yeah, and
So
that is
yeah.
already happening, right? I think we're already seeing that happen in practice, where, like you said, the urbanization is propelling at a very fast rate, whereas our rural population is getting left behind. and then you also have the tier 2, tier 3 cities which are in between, and
Yeah.
there's always that, need for people to move to a metropolitan city like Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore. But then we are forgetting that in doing that, our cities are not going to be able to sustain so many people. So we need to find sustainable, in this case, food systems that are able to satisfy and feed so
Hmm.
many people. And India is a big population. So for us to be able to do that is possible through Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy. That is, you can build a country through communities, through villages,
Yeah.
and slowly, because of globalization and because of media bombarding us with Western ideals and Western concepts, we are kind of losing our true essence and our true, I would say, philosophies in this. So yeah, that's very well said. I think a very important point that you brought up. Now we're going to get a little personal. We're going to talk about your journey and focus on your journey, on how through the years that you've spent working in the social impact space and learning and even practicing a lot that you've already learned, what are some of the big wins that you have celebrated? And they don't have to be big wins, really. They can be small wins or small joys. But what are some of the wins, and what learnings have emerged from these wins?
I can definitely, like, when I reflect back, I can definitely see three major wins probably, or
Hmm.
three major learnings or experiences. So I think that the first time I actually got exposed to the social impact space was probably in my second year, I guess, wherein I was just roaming around. So I live in Saket, and there's this Saket metro station near my house. So one fine day, I actually came back early from my college, and I just didn't feel like going back to my house and probably just doing the normal chores. I thought that let me roam around and probably explore what kind of how has this area grown, because throughout our lives we are like so much busy probably studying or probably doing n number of things that we've often failed to explore our local areas. So
Right.
I just yeah I started roaming, and somehow I located this NGO called Cry. Okay, so it was just probably 500 meters away from Saket metro station, and I thought
Mm-hmm.
that okay, I don't know anything about this, I haven't seen it because it was not there earlier. So what is this? I didn't know anything about Cry. I just went directly into the office to inquire, okay, what is this institution? Because the name seems cool, and what are you guys doing actually? Um, Although I wasn't allowed to enter into the office, there was this guard who probably gave me a brochure and told me, okay, these guys focus on empowering children through various events or advocacy events and stuff. So okay, I thought that okay, this is nice. Although I am an engineer, but why I can certainly try doing different things also. I can diversify and like learn about this social impact space also. So I went back and I read about Cry, and I thought, okay, this seems very exciting. Why shouldn't it, like I can definitely give them a mail and then ask them if I could contribute in any manner. So I did that, and I received a reply, and slowly by slowly the momentum started building up. I got introduced to their team. They selected me for their 1 year leadership program, or kind of a fellowship only, wherein you get a chance to become a representative of Cry in your college, and then they also fund you to actually start your own venture focusing on advocacy for for children and all. That was, I think, one of the very monumental years for me, wherein I learned a lot about the social impact space. What happened was that due to this all this momentum which got generated, I actually launched my own social organization while I was in my third year at college.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was called Agaze Talim. It was basically, Agaze Talim means the beginning of education. Okay, so it was so basically that was my third year, and that particular institution of Agaze Talim, it became so popular in Jamia. The name was actually given by one of the members from my own class, basically, or from my own cohort of Jamia. What happened was that this particular society became so famous across Jamia. And what it did basically was that we conceptualized a 60 days fellowship program, which would enable the university students to connect with local slums, because in Delhi you will find a lot of slums around big institutions, especially like Jamia. Near Jamia, there are a lot of slums in Batla House, Shambhiyar, and all. So what we did was that we created a simple 60 days fellowship program, invited applications for that. We got a very good response from the students in Jamia. So what they did was that for 60 days they would have to visit a local community near Jamia. They have to pick up a student. They have to teach them for 60 days on subjects relating to maths, philosophy, science, just the basics of it, which would enable them to probably bridge the gap between the child and then that same child probably going to a government school, so that they shouldn't feel a gap when they actually go to the school, like suddenly facing a blankness. Okay, what kind of institution have I entered in, because I haven't really had any kind of exposure to education. So we wanted to bridge that gap. So for 60 days, my first cohort, which started probably in 2017, Wagazi Talim, they picked up 15 students across slums in near Jamia. They taught them for 60 days on subjects which I told you about. They taught them about the basics of food, basics of like various life skills, like self defense for girls, or maybe about humanity, and various other aspects, sanitation, maintaining hygiene in slums, cleaning your surroundings, doing tree plantation drives. So just the very basic stuff which the children could also relate to, and even the students in our society would enjoy doing. And that actually really, that was really successful, because in the very first year we were able to enroll more than 10 students in government schools, because as a part of that fellowship, once those 60 days get over, you have to enroll the student in a nearby government school and ensure that they don't drop out.
Okay.
And that was really successful. I think that was one of those times when I really felt that I have actually contributed something back to the society in a positive way.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And until now, probably we have enrolled more than 50 students in government schools. Some have dropped out, but certainly it has created a momentum or a chain reaction.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, right? Essentially, that's what you need to create an impact, is that chain reaction.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And food was a very big aspect of that, because every person, whenever a person used to visit, because in slums you often find that these children or the families living in slums, they don't even have, they can't even afford a proper meal for 2 times a day, right? And we thought that these children must be hungry, and they don't even find good food to eat. So what we created this rule that whenever you actually go to the slum to teach the child, take a food packet with you. It can be biryani, which is preferred by the slum children locally, or maybe it can be any food item which you can probably just purchase it from a canteen in Jamia, and you can take it with you. You first offer it to the child. He will first feed himself, and once he feels comfortable, then you start teaching him just for an hour, teaching him very basics, no bookish knowledge, just interacting with him and understanding from his point of view, and giving him or her importance. Because the problem is we don't really give them importance, right? That is the biggest problem.
It's a mindset
They are
barrier.
a part of a society. Yeah, they are from a part of society which probably are in a situation because they haven't really got educated, or it is because of their own issues. But that is certainly not true. They are probably not there because of their own circumstances, or probably because they were not educated, or something like that. Means it is just a misfortune that they are into such a terrible situation, and the least we can do is, as college students, and given that we have so much access to university infra and the food systems in the university, we can certainly help them in our free time. So that is how Aghaze Talim was born, and I think that it is growing quite rapidly nowadays. And we even have a plan to like expand it to the different colleges across Delhi. But in Jamia, it is certainly sustaining very healthily.
So that's a really good initiative, and I think very important. And the point that you made about thinking of the children from these communities as equal or as capable is only because we do not give them. It's because, and this is something, of course, that's coming from my experience with Teach for India and the children that I was taking care of, and is that they are very capable. They have it in them to become educated, to become as successful as any of our friends or family members. It's just that because people who are more fortunate do not think of them in that light. If you see someone living in that community, immediately your reaction is that, oh, they are from that community, they are probably not that educated, they probably can't even do this, they probably, these kind of statements just come to your mind. And and those are some of the biggest barriers that we have for ourselves, and that stops us from really doing something about it. By only saying that ki, they are from the community, they are not educated, that's a statement. You're not questioning why, you're not really bringing yourself to think why, and what if they were given the right kind of education, what if they were given the same rights that we have. So yeah, very
Yeah.
important points. And
Just one more point. I think that sometimes it's more important, or maybe, yeah, I think that it is more important just to give them that little push, right? Just
yeah.
to connect with them, just to sit with them and listen to them. Okay, what are they going through? Means I was quite fascinated when I visited this Sham Vihar slum near
Hmm.
Jamia,
Hmm.
and just interacted with these children. They were far more smarter and far more capable than probably I am, or probably my fellows at Aghaze Talim, or even in my engineering faculty of Jamia were. They were
Hmm.
so frugal, innovating so many things, doing hardcore engineering actually, but using their limited means, right? So
Yeah.
I was quite fascinated that it is not that these children, they are not that smart, or maybe,
Hmm.
but it is actually because we don't give them that importance, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
All you need to do is that just probably make an effort to go to them, just give them that confidence, right, that they can also do something important with their lives. Probably any person from a slum can also become the next Elon Musk, or maybe the next Sundar Pichai. It is not you have to give them a laptop, or you have to go and enroll them in a proper school and afford their all their expenses and all. It is not like that. You have to first instill that confidence in them, that yeah, you
Correct.
can do something. We will support you, we are there for you. Just that whenever you feel like there is some issue, you definitely have a person who can listen to you.
Correct. The circumstances do not define them. And yeah, like you said, they need that push. And you need people to be pushing them. So we need more people to be actually dedicated to such causes. Okay, so we come to our what if question. And this question is really the essence of this show. And it helps us picture a world that we can help create together through small actions, through small deeds, maybe, a conversation with your friend or family, enlightening them about something they have learned today. And hopefully through this episode and through your experience and journey. So the question is, what if one day, and I'm sure this day will come as Savin grows and as it prospers, and as it expands across the country. So what if one day you were to help the women of Savin see the bigger picture, see that their work goes beyond just that kiosk or beyond just managing that kiosk? What would you tell them, and why would you tell them that?
Hmm. I think that that was one of the questions which also haunted me for a while.
Hmm.
That how can I enable these women to reap benefits of Seven in a more in a more efficient manner, and not just probably, or they should not just get confined to just probably selling food items through our canteens. Means there should
Hmm.
be a larger picture to that, and that is how probably we conceptualized Seven Sangathan. Okay, so this is
Okay.
a concept. You can probably check that out on the website also,
Mm-hmm.
and it is still in a very nascent stage. But with Sevan Sangathan, what we plan to do is that we want to, first of all, it would act as a bridge, or maybe it would act as a common platform or a national network which would catalyze strong relationships amongst our women vendors, right? They should not work in silos, and that is
Hmm.
something which we often observe probably while working in a same building, right? For a same company, there exists probably 5 to 10 different departments or
Hmm.
offices, and a person probably from one project or one department doesn't even know what the other person from their same company is doing, right?
Yeah.
Breaking those silos and catalyzing very strong relationships amongst these women vendors, so that it becomes like a family. And that is one of the concepts which I actually took out directly from the dabba walas. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you probably see these dabba walas,
Hmm.
and I was very fortunate to learn more about them during the Jagriti Yatra
Hmm.
2020. Matlab, you will be amazed to know that even though a dabba wala probably earns just 10 or 15,000 rupees a month, even your housemaid servant might be earning 25,000 or 20,000 these days. These jabbawalas, although they don't earn that much, but that sense of belonging of what they are doing as a community, what they represent, what they stand for is so strong that even if you offer them $1 million to
Mm.
leave their job and do something else, they won't do that. They really stand for what they are doing. They really take pride in what they are doing. And that is something which I want to personally invest more of my time in. When as an organization we grow, or as a company we grow, I want to invest more and more of my time in building up Sevan Sangathan and connecting all these women with each other, so that mutually they can probably maybe even pool a small fund, a corpus, or maybe reap benefits of this network, which we will catalyze for them or create for them in an economic manner, social manner, financial manner, be it probably taking a small loan from the sangathan and financing your child's education, or probably including another woman into the Seven network and enabling them to start their canteens, because they might not even have the that 1 lakh rupees corpus to start the canteen. So
Mm.
basically building very strong relationships, so that as a community or as a commune they should grow, as a society they should grow, and not just probably we don't want to function as a company, right? Because even if I Google right now, you will find probably hundreds of food companies or hundreds of canteens across India which might be employing women, right?
Mm.
I want to create a system wherein these women should take pride in what they are doing. It is
Right.
not like, because that is one of the key problem areas which I find certainly in India. Because herein, especially in India, there is huge discrimination on the basis of what a person does. Probably a sweeper or a
Mm.
janitor working in my school or in my office, they would feel that they are probably not equivalent to us, because we are sitting in front of laptops and doing some high tech work, and they are
Mm.
cleaning the floors. So they don't take pride in their work because we don't give them that pride. So that is something which I want to change with Sevan Sangathan, that these women workers, although they are selling food through canteens, means they are their own self vendors and managing the canteen operations all by themselves, but that doesn't mean that they are any lower to probably an MNC employee, or maybe
Mm.
even the VP of some big multinational company. We are all equivalent, and we are all living on the same planet, and we need to break these silos, certainly. That
Mm.
a person probably working in some high tech posh job and has who has like probably a very flashy Ivy League degree, they are certainly more elite. No, they are not elite, but yeah, they might have put in a lot of effort to educate themselves. Even then, they are still human, right? And
Yeah.
we are also humans, and these women are also humans, and
Yeah.
that is certainly, and that should be like the main. There should be no demarcation in that, right? We are all equivalent, and everyone probably needs a healthy meal, a bed to sleep, and probably a job, and that should be it. You should not give that much importance to other things in life. It is more important to live in harmony and to live peacefully with your community and grow as a community. So that is, I think, that in the longer run, I want to build Seven as like a sangathan,
Mm.
a big community of not just women. Women are just one of the segments which we want to focus with our canteens. But in the longer run, in case we diversify Seven to probably other products or maybe other institutions in the longer run, and we diversify to across the globe, I certainly think that we can create a lot of momentum, or generate a lot of positive impact just by linking these people who are working for us or with us, just creating that sense of belongingness in them.
Some very important thoughts, and I completely agree that we are humans first. I think that stood out for me in what you said, that we are humans first, and so far, unfortunately, India's caste system has prolonged even in the 21st century, where we do not look at someone cleaning or someone doing a job that is serving us in the end. We're not giving that importance, or we do not think of them as equals. It is one of the biggest things, I think, is holding our country back. If we
Yeah.
start treating each other as equals, if we do not define a human being based on the work that they do, or based on where they live, or based on what they own, I think we'll become a progressive society. We don't even have to depend on our governments to do that for us. As citizens, if we can start doing that, we will be miles ahead in this game of becoming a developed country. But Unfortunately, our caste system is so deep rooted that it's going to take some time, but I'm glad I'm seeing that there is progress, and it's slowly happening where like-minded individuals are trying their best to guide everybody to let that go and let that be in our past.
इसमें probably
Hmm.
just I'll add one more point, and which is
Yeah.
so shocking that means I'll just give you a small statistic that the female labor force participation in India at a dismal 24%. And just imagine what our neighbor Nepal has. Nepal में the female labor force participation is 82%, and that is
Wow.
amongst the highest in the world. And just imagine, we sometimes, even as countries also, you'll think ke, matlab we often feel that we are superior to other countries, probably like Nepal or Bangladesh or maybe other countries. I don't want to name them, but
Hmm.
superiority complex is certainly probably creating more trouble for Indians. So
Yeah.
we need to do away with that. Be like in any manner,
Yeah.
probably in our workspaces, probably as Indians, or as a community or as humanity also, we need
Hmm.
to break these silos, or we just need to become a very tolerant society, and a very we need to become humans first, I guess, because
Correct.
humanity is more about equality rather than discrimination or discriminating anyone on the basis of color, what kind of clothes they wear, what kind of jobs
Hmm.
they do. I think that is a very retarded mentality, especially in the 21st century.
And the whole concept of borders, religion, caste, gender, yes, but gender roles, it's all socially constructed. This is all some these are
Yeah.
concepts humans have created so that we are able to live in harmony, but unfortunately these things are going against us and it's causing too much chaos and noise and things that we are not able to accept. Okay, so we'll come to our last question. So this is a question about gratitude, and I think in practice it really helps us. Number one, it helps us reflect. It also helps us become more grounded, and it also teaches us to take care of the things that we express gratitude for. This question I think is important, and I want to bring that out in all of us. I would like to also hear about what you are grateful for. So just feel free to share your gratitudes with us.
I think that the major point which comes to my mind right now when it comes to gratitude, I think that
Hmm.
there is probably just one point which I definitely feel very grateful for, and
Hmm.
which is certainly that I feel very grateful to my family, especially for the fact that they were able to raise me so well, and they were
Hmm.
able to feed me for the last 25 odd years, and without even complaining for a single day. And I think that is one of the key things we should all be grateful for, to our
Hmm.
mothers, to our family in general, because it is not always that your mother only cooks. Probably your father or your sister can also cook. Yeah, I think that I would be very grateful to my family that they were able to provide me with good nutrition, good upbringing, good food for the last 25 years, and that they have given me those set of values which I can now further dispense, or I can further teach the world, or maybe let it out to the world through the community which I have created with Seven.
That's it from us for today. If this episode left you feeling hungry, curious, or inspired, then head to Sevan's social channels and see what the women of Sevan are up to. As we always say, the best way for more of us to start asking what if is by sharing this show with your close ones. So do take a moment to do just that at your own time. Feel free to write to us or chat with us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You'll find all the links in your episode notes. Till we meet again, stay safe and keep asking what if.